participating by Zoom, the people that are here are vaccinated, and staff, and involved in the council meeting.
Oh. Are you discriminating against unvaccinated people?
The members present are staff members and those integral to the actions before the council.
I'm just repeating what I hear on my social media account every morning. Okay, welcome to the Lancaster City Council meeting. We've had an eventful day. I got to ride a tractor. I got to bulldoze an illegal marijuana field. It was fun. Do you guys have fun? Do you have fun?
I had a lot of fun today.
I didn't have fun.
I had a blast.
Yeah, Daryl was the only.
I just wanted to be known that I didn't have fun because I didn't know anything about it.
You know,
that's not true.
I knew about it.
I got to say, that is not acceptable.
I agree.
But we shouldn't really air our dirty laundry during a meeting.
I agree. I just wanted to say I didn't get to enjoy the festivities that I would have loved to have driven a tractor over illegal marijuana
Well,
fields.
that's really, that would.
I would have loved to have tore them up and burnt them, chopped them up. Well, not burn them, maybe. Maybe not burn them. We wouldn't have made it out of there, probably. Huh? We might have bumped into each other.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, I'm sure you were.
So if we burn it, would that give us credit towards the restaurant rescue?
I don't understand why we just don't turn the problem over to Edwards Air Force Base. They could do bombing practice, right? I mean, it would be cost effective. Right?
I'm sure we got some bombs we can test on them.
There's thousands of those things out there. Unbelievable. All right, let's do the roll call. City Clerk, call the roll, please.
City Council Member, Agency Director, Authority Member Doris.
Present.
Molly.
Present.
Mann.
Present.
Vice Mayor, Vice Chairman Christ.
Present.
Mayor, Chairman Paris.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. The invocation tonight is with Ronald Guthrie from Christian Life Assembly. Is he here? Okay. Is he?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, good. You want
Okay, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, staff, and guests. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for asking me to provide the invocation. Let's all pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Father, I just thank you for this day. Father, I thank you for the freedoms that we enjoy in this world, and I thank you for the city that we live in that you've given us, Father. And I pray, Father, that you'll continue to bless this city in our country, Father. And I lift up this meeting to you today, that all discussion will be with your spirit and for the betterment of our community, to make it a better place to live and a desirable place to live for people to come and enjoy their life. Father, the decisions we make today, I pray, Father, will not only make one nation under God, but also make a fine city under God. And we pray in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so Daryl, you want to do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. Everyone, please stand. I want you to contribute something. Thank you for allowing me to contribute. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
About time you did something.
Ooh, that was cold. Wow, that was cold. So we had a party. It was kind of a party, wasn't it? I mean, it was pretty cool. I never did anything that cool. And somebody failed to invite Councilman Doris.
Thank you, Mayor, for sharing that.
And I apologize on behalf of the city, because that really was, you missed it.
I did
Quite a
talk to
day.
Mr. Doris yesterday and was explaining what was going on. And Mr. Doris was having fun bowling at the time. So he didn't have time to talk with me. So,
Well, I didn't know that part of the story. Okay. Anything to be removed, City Manager?
There is a presentation first. And then
Well, first I need to know if you're going to remove anything,
I'm not going to remove anything.
because if I don't follow the list, I'll get confused, and then I'll look stupid. And nobody wants to have a stupid mayor.
I agree.
Thanks. Okay, nothing to be removed. The presentation for the Rural Olympics the presenters are Bill Rawlings and Giovanni Simi.
We thank you for letting us speak tonight. We have a small presentation about the Rural Olympics, and Bill and I have been doing the Rural Olympics together for over 40 years now, together, working on the Olympics. That's why I'm using a cane, and Bill doesn't have any hair on his head. And I'm glad you had fun driving. What size track layer did you get to drive?
It was really big, wasn't
it?
No, it was a new loader.
D8 or a front end loader or
It
a
was called a Tonka.
Tonka?
No, it was huge. It was huge, wasn't it? But what I was amazed by was how easy it was to drive.
Yeah.
You know, forward, backward, and you had a joystick, did whatever you wanted it to do. It was great.
Well, I grew up on the twin stick version of that, where you pulled on one side to make the tracks go one way and pulled on the other side to make it go. And I spent way too many hours on those. That's why I wear earplugs all the time now, and I wished I'd worn earplugs way back when, but with the AC cabs that you've got on them now, makes it pretty nice in there. Pretty nice work environment. Better than some offices I've been in.
If I had had two controls to work, it could have been a disaster.
Okay, the Rural Olympics. On the first page of the presentation, of course, it's at the Antelope Valley Fair. This year will be during the Barntoberfest, and our event will be October 9th. Second screen, or who? Okay. The first picture is Les Fredine with his mules Jerry and Rowdy. Second picture, we're still researching that, but we believe it's the guy that brought the first thoroughbred into the Antelope Valley Fairgrounds to race on the track. Next, upper right is Ernie Bailey and Old Militia, a tractor that we have at the Rural Museum. Lower left is Wayne Arnold, and we don't have Wayne there, but we have his tractor there. Lower right is Ray McCormick, who is one of our Hall of Fame members. Next slide is Otis Fairchild with his truck. We have that truck in there. And then, of course, one of our most beloved directors, next to Debbie, of course, Ralph Bozigian. Next one is Scott and Newt in the Model T, Scott Rawlings. And then the other picture is Mike Tussey and Mariah Voda. Next slide. Frank Laurie, who is the speed tractor racer. We have two of those tractors in the museum at this point in time. We're trying to get that one. Randy Hall and Christina Ortiz. We don't have Randy. He's still out on the east side being a mechanic at 85 years old. But we do have the Model T in there. And then, of course, Red Dog Mansberger, famous tractor driver and a dump truck driver. Next slide is Butch Godey throwing hay on the left side and then hay stealing on the right side. Next slide is hay loading which is the last event of the fair, and then the other hay loading, the wagon, bale wagon, which was invented here, and we have one of the first ones that was manufactured here, and that's our first event. Next slide is what we're here for tonight. This is the Highland tug-of-war team, and they're the wrestling teams, and then one member of the Quartz Hill participation team. The reason we're here tonight is to challenge you for the 4th of July with the City of Palmdale, which we met with last week at their council meeting, to put together a tug-of-war team from either the council or
Done.
and potato racers. We'd like a couple of cars from the city, from each city, to come in and compete with each other for the potato race, which is what we're going to do as a demo for the 4th of July event at the fairgrounds this year. And then we've heard of, Debbie, would you please speak on the newest challenge that we've heard about?
Hi, everyone. I'm Debbie Dino with the AVFA. Got a challenge today from JJ Murphy, actually kind of geared towards you.
Mayweather too.
So let me say it exactly. Apparently JJ was at a luncheon today and he showed off his dance skills. So he has, and let me get this. Let me say this word for word, so I can't be out of context here.
Debbie, can I set the scene real quick?
Absolutely.
So what you're saying is he was out dancing while our city manager was out.
Oh, I knew it.
Law enforcement.
Yes, I'm from Palmdale, yes. I'm so glad to be here today.
Okay. He was taking on the cartels, fighting for the
That's
law.
true. That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
For our way of life.
We have our priorities.
Yes.
Okay.
So he would like to offer a city manager soul in their step competition. And he'd like for you to participate with him at the 4th of July festivities. So that's something you and him can discuss and kind of let us know, but
They're going to have a dance-off?
yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
No, that's stuff they do in Palmdale.
Oh, no.
Bring your
Wait a
name
minute.
track.
In Lancaster, men are men.
So I'm just the messenger. Please do not shoot me.
Okay.
Anyway, we think it would be
we're
fun.
his boss. No.
You won't do it.
No, he's not having a, if he wants to have a fight,
Oh,
we could do that.
a fist fight.
If he
Does
wants
he
to
wanna
have
issue a
an
challenge?
individual.
Would you like to issue a challenge back?
Mud wrestling, yes.
Mud
He
wrestling.
could dance into the ring all he wanted.
I'd like a slap contest.
I'm kind of there with you on that
Yeah,
one.
slap.
You know,
We will do the tug of war.
the tug of war
but we wanna do it
and the
against their
potato
council.
race?
What?
And the potato race?
What is the
In the potato race,
What's the
but I
potato
don't want
race?
any big potatoes stuck out there.
We won't go into, I've heard stories about that,
And
so.
you don't
That's
get to
right.
bring your
Giovanni's
tractor
daughter
for the
taught me how
tug
to
of
do
war.
that.
We've been doing, Drew and I, we've been doing that last couple of years.
Yeah.
The
We'll do the
ringers.
potato race.
Is it us or do we donate our sons?
Oh,
Or-
no.
It's us?
It's you.
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
Yes.
Can I
yes.
gain weight for this?
We can.
Now, you will need a driver. You will need a driver.
No, you're talking about the potato
Potato
race.
race.
Oh, tug of war, okay.
That's right.
We will also
We're not
have
going to
a,
need to. Have you seen that, council?
You know I have to go back, right?
They're not coming out if it's a windy day.
They're not? Marvin?
Okay, we're in.
we will also
Absolutely.
have a practice day for you if you want a practice day.
If you want lessons.
We don't practice with the JV.
We need to practice at least.
For tug of war?
Yes.
No, the potato race.
There's
Potato
actual
race.
skill involved in that. Look at that guy. Look at that stance. You know, his legs look very similar to mine, but
You don't forget how to be an athlete, Rex. Trust me.
Well, we're glad we have you laughing, so we
Yes.
thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
All right,
thank you. Thank you. We look
guys.
forward to it.
Thank you for what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good we're getting back to normal, isn't it?
Yes.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Let's vote. I assumed it passed unanimously. It did. See, I'm prescient. You like that? Huh?
Was that tractor driver?
That's right. That's what it was. It invigorated me. Okay, COVID-19 pandemic updates and actions. I never thought I would actually look forward to this part of the evening, but I do now. So am I turning it over to you?
Jonathan's actually remote. Everybody's got his PowerPoint ready for us.
Good. Let's see what's going on.
With us now, Jonathan.
Right, this is Jonathan. I don't know if you can hear me.
We can.
Okay. Do you see the screen that I'm sharing?
Yep.
Okay, great. So yeah, this is the probably among the best numbers that we've seen. In fact, because it's so good, I'm actually cut down on the slides. So we'll go forward here. So start with what's going on in the world. If you look at the map on the left, United States, Canada, we're in very light yellow range, maybe 8 per 100,000. You look at South America, it's the biggest hotspot now. Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, they are in the purple range, 40, 50, 60 per 100,000. Going over to India, if you recall, last month India was also a hotspot, but now India has calmed down a bit. It looks like Mongolia is the only hotspot in Asia. The rest of Africa, Australia is really nice, even better off than the United States. And the tip of South Africa, it's a little bit moderate. Going over to the 7-day average for the world, as you can see, it has dropped a lot compared to last month. And if you look at the 14-day cases change, also dropped by 26%. So overall for the world, 173 million cases, 3.7 million deaths year to date. And this is 2 days ago, June 6th. The United States, we're even better off. As you can see, most of the country is in the light yellow, which is 10, maybe 15 range per 100,000. And California is very favorably light. Looks like Colorado, parts of Texas, Montana, Wyoming, with some hot spots in Oregon and Idaho. But for the most part, very favorable for the country. Going over to the graph, the 7-day average also very, very nicely dropped. And basically, if you look at the tip of June, it's almost as basically the beginning of the epidemic. The cases so few, it's probably negligible. 14-day change is even better, 45%. And overall, 33 million cases reported, about 500,000, 600,000 deaths since the epidemic began. You saw California very light, very favorable, less than 10. 100,000 in the past week. This is the graph, 7-day average, again, very low, very favorable, and then 14-day even better, 23%. And our total for California, 3.7, 3.8, close to 3.8, 60,000 deaths year to date. Going to LA County, we are at 213 cases as of June 6th. And total cases reported in LA County is 1.245 million. 7-day average is very low, 0.4%, not even 1%. And for all of LA County, it's basically 14-day average is basically 0 test positivity. So what are their predictions? If you recall the ensemble prediction of, I think, 23 organizations, UCLA, USC, UCSF, MIT, Stanford, everyone's predicting, and basically this is basically a conglomerate, combined prediction. And as of today, we are at, continues to predict even a lower lower rate of infection per 100,000, very favorable. So really the focus now is no longer the rate of infection, hospitalizations, or deaths. Pretty much it's vaccination. And as of June the 4th, last week, this is the rate of vaccination in the United States. About 51% of everyone has received at least one dose, and about 41% are fully vaccinated. 12% and up are actually doing well, relatively, and catching up to the 18 and up. So the whole country is about 50%, basically 50% fully vaccinated. And the goal is to get to 70 for the country to get full benefit from herd immunity. There is a drop, though, in average doses delivered per day. The height was mid-April. Since then, there's been a significant decline. And even with the third vaccine, and also with the Pfizer approval down to 12 years old, there continues to be a drop in interest in the vaccination rate. We're at 1 million per day only. At this current pace, we will probably reach 70% by October the 14th. And basically the goal then is to push everyone to get their vaccinations, hopefully by July 4th, at least 70%. And that's the goal of Mr. Biden, President of the United States. We are focusing now on vaccinating the young. As you know, the young population, they get the infection, but they don't perish from it. They don't pass from it. It's the older population that gets the infection and many die. So basically the young population is considered the reservoir because many of them are asymptomatic. And so we want them vaccinated so they don't spread infections. This came out actually only a few days ago. The CDC looked at, as of June the 4th, of all the admissions that were since March and April of this year. And basically they said there in children, and there were 204 adolescents. Nearly a third of them ended up in the ICU, which is very high. Usually it's no more than 20% in the adult, but in the children, it's really high, up to 30%, a third. And 5% of them required mechanical ventilation, which is also high, because the rate of ventilation is really less than 5% in the adults. Fortunately, none died. So if there's concern about younger members of our population not getting the vaccine, basically we should let them know that if they get sick, they get pretty sick pretty fast. And fortunately, we have tools now, medicines and treatments, to prevent them from passing away, but it's really, you don't want this in the younger population. So how are we doing in LA County? At least one dose, 60, and fully vaccinated 53%. Sorry about the light numbers. Overall, 85% of seniors age 65 have been vaccinated. So this is really nice to have so many in our most vulnerable patients vaccinated. This is a comparison. This is LA County numbers overall. The graph colors tells you where the vaccinations are highest in terms of percentile. And as you can see, it looks like Santa Clarita, Castaic area is probably the highest. A lot of the coastal cities, very favorable. We are here in the light pink, so we're still in the 30 to 45% range in the Antelope Valley and others. The rest of the San Fernando Valley and LA is gradually catching up, but we have more room to vaccinate our population. This is vaccination by day, and as you can see, the interest is dropping, and it's probably going to be difficult to reach 70% unless we really push hard and encourage more participation. These two side-by-side pictures show the comparison with City of Lancaster in terms of vaccination and City of Palmdale in terms of vaccination. And here in Lancaster, we are here in the pink range. If you look at the vaccination graph by day, we are on the very low side. I know it's very light because I copied this directly from the website, but we are at, let me see, there was a number somewhere. We're in the low side for the most part. Whereas Palmdale is doing a little bit better. And Palmdale is lighter in the light blue, maybe 45% received first dose. So there's some opportunities here for our Lancaster population. Oh yeah, here are the actual numbers. That was just the pictorial. Here's the actual numbers for our the City of Lancaster. 56,000 doses have been delivered. 16 plus population, we are at 45%, and over 65.77%. Palmdale is a little bit better, 51%, and 82% accordingly. And that's all I have for the update. Let me stop sharing.
People, you're letting Palmdale beat us? I mean, for heaven's sakes, how hard is this? I mean, the vaccination center, for heaven's sakes, is in Lancaster, and the Palmdale population is beating us.
They put the vaccination in their dance centers in Palmdale.
I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Mayor, we are still seeing new cases come in the hospital. I do not want people to let their guard down. If you have not gotten vaccinated yet, or if your child who's eligible has not gotten vaccinated yet, get vaccinated. This is by far the best decision you're going to make. You don't want to get this disease. You don't want your child to get this disease. There are serious complications for getting it. And this is one of the safest, most effective, most available free vaccines that we've ever invented. It's, you know, and if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I know Dr. Trong's happy to answer them. But this is a good, healthy choice to make. Do it today. Do it as soon as possible.
Can you talk about, just real quick, the process that they use to approve the vaccinations? Because a lot of people are saying it was approved so fast, and that's why they're not doing it. But my understanding is they got to do all the different trials concurrently rather than after one another. That's what takes the length. So by doing it concurrently, they skipped years.
I'm going to let Jonathan field this, and then I'll follow up.
Yeah, so the way vaccines are made, first you want to test it in the laboratory, then you want to test it in the animals, and then you want to test it in a small population of about 150 people, and then you expand it to 3,000, and then you go straight to 30,000 and 60,000. The way the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines, and also all the vaccines, he skipped a lot. So instead of going to the animals first, the vaccine was created in the laboratory, and it went straight to human trial testing immediately, 50, 60 people, and within months, it expanded to 60,000 people all at once. And fortunately, you know, the trials were published and scrutinized, and it actually was very good. So basically, the technology, the mRNA technology, was so efficacious that the side effects were minimal, and the return, the efficacy was 90th percentile. So that's the discomfort with not just even with scientists, even with clinicians like us, we were kind of uncomfortable at basically rolling it out so rapidly. Within 9 months, we got a vaccine. Most vaccines take, on average, 5 years because of how slow it is to go through the animals first and the small population and the larger population. So yes, there's concern, but we're fortunate that it worked out, and The side effects aren't that substantial. Now, even then, because we roll it out so fast, sometimes we don't cover all the variants, and variants actually evolve while the vaccine was being tested, such as the AstraZeneca vaccine. So yes, there's a lot of issues, but yeah, we stand by it in terms of clinicians. 85% of doctors, up to 85% of doctors have taken it. Less with the staff, but physicians, we see the cases. We're so afraid of being exposed and getting the disease. We don't want it in ourselves and our families. So we were among the first groups in line to get the vaccine.
Thank you.
How did that help?
Good.
So, Allison, I want an ordinance for as soon as possible, authorizing requiring all employers in Lancaster to maintain a list of all employees who are vaccinated and all employees who are not vaccinated. Figure out some way to enforce it and just do it, all right?
I will look into it and get you something.
And I know Marvin wants to put a tattoo on their head of everybody who's not vaccinated, but we're not going to go to that extreme yet.
No, it's if you look at it, Ken was the youngest one on the council when he took his. And look at.
I saw that you were impacting that group of 65 and over, so we appreciate Marvin.
Yes, I have joined you in Rex in those ranks.
Yes.
And, I've just lost patience with it. I mean, it was just a month ago we were filling trucks with dead bodies. I mean, for heaven's sakes, people, do your part. It really is inexcusable not to get that vaccine. And I understand people don't want to do it. I understand people are afraid of it. I understand that there's burdens of it. Do it anyway. I mean, just be a good citizen and do it anyway. Protect your families, if nothing else. Now, that being said, there you are, Larry. We need what we need you guys to do is I want to know exactly what we do next time. I want to know what are the trigger points and what are the steps we take. And so that there isn't any of this relying on the county and relying on the state. I mean, we will chart our own path, but I want it scientifically based. And I want to be able to respond quickly. Okay.
I know it seems like it's over here, and everybody needs a mental and physical break from this thing, but it's not over. All you have to do is look at the news in other parts of the world right now, and there are countries that are suffering. I just went to Latin America for a trip, and they just got over their peak, just like our winter. It just happened there. So, if you want your kid to go to school safely and play with other kids, if you want to get on an airplane safely, if you want to, there's a lot of things that we're going to do in society where we interact. We're social beings. Next winter, if you're not vaccinated, it's going to be like there's two populations. The populations vaccinated and protected, and those that are unprotected. And I can tell you, I do not want to relive that experience again as a doctor, and I certainly wouldn't want to do it as a family member. So please protect yourself.
Am I correct? The reason it's not still going on in an uncontrollable fashion is simply because we're outside now. Right?
I think we saw what happened during the holiday season last year. That's when we have our flu season, right, when we're inside. And also because we did a heck of a job getting, this town, this city, and the Antelope Valley did a heck of a job. We got our vaccine late, and we did a terrific job on masking, did a terrific job on distancing, and then we're doing a terrific job on vaccinating, but we got to keep it up. We're not there yet.
Good. And the other lesson that we learned that I hope stays with us is that when you're feeling sick, put a mask on. They work. We can eliminate the flu season. We could just be so much healthier as a community if we just did that one little thing. And now nobody laughs at you when you're wearing a mask because we've all had to wear them, right? All right, good. Thank you. So we're having that celebration at Jet Hawks Win.
It's June 27th is the concert. It's going to be a Trace Adkins concert on June 27th.
Okay, and are we doing some of the awards for the heroes of COVID?
That was a plan to do that, yes.
Okay, great. And so we got somebody working on that?
Yes.
Great. I want that to be a really big deal. All right. And yes, it's true. We are definitely discriminating. Those who have the vaccine get preferred seating. Those who don't got to sit up in the nosebleed section, right? Isn't that the plan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
So Rex, what is our perceived scale back in the city?
I'm sorry, what?
When do we start scaling back on everything here?
I don't know why we're not doing it now. I mean, you know, if you're vaccinated, there's really no reason I can see you to wear a mask. You know, the problem is there's so many people that are not vaccinated, and there'll be people who are cheating. So, you know, the reason we're having to wear masks is because of the cheaters, right? Am I correct on that, Larry?
It would be safer if everyone was vaccinated. Yeah, if everyone's vaccinated, we could all be
you're
safe
so
together.
diplomatic.
There's no doubt about that. Yeah.
I'm the politician here. I'm supposed to be diplomatic. You're supposed to just lay it out.
Get vaccinated. You don't want to go to a party, a concert, or school with people that might, you know, I mean, those are the people at risk. The people that, you know, you want to be protected, protect yourself. That's it.
Okay. Although, you know, I got employees that haven't got vaccinated. It's beyond my comprehension. And
Let's find the employer.
I like that idea, actually. It'd give me a reason, right? Can I do that?
I sincerely doubt it.
Just one time?
You know, we've become such mamby-pambies, haven't we? I mean,
he drove a tractor
before I
today.
know it, our city manager is going to be dancing with this. Okay. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Dr. Trong. You have been remarkable through this.
Yes.
We have a lot of people alive today because of your efforts, and that has not gone unnoticed. Thank you. Okay.
Do we need speakers?
Oh, any speakers?
At this time, anyone wishing to comment on item ED1, please press *9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your call-in number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each and will be remuted after the allotted time. Please press *9 at this time. There are no speakers.
Wow. I'm surprised. I thought I would be lambasted for that. All right.
Motion to approve ED 1, 2, 3, and 4, but amending 1 from vice mayor to deputy mayor.
What? Oh, I see. Okay, right. I'm sorry, Marvin. Were you feeling usurped?
I didn't get to drive a tractor today.
Just so the record's clear, he could have drove the tractor.
For clarity's sake, the typo with regard to vice mayor is on the script only. It's not on the agenda.
Thank you.
Okay, good.
Don't you got to
All
be
right.
there to drive a tractor?
So,
Yes.
is there a second?
I'll second that.
Let's vote. Passes unanimously. Good. Now, on the consent calendar, we have to remove CC5 and CC9 because...
Mr. Mayor, before we go on to the regular consent calendar, your script omits CCEA, CC1. If we could move that item first in accordance with the agenda, that would be appropriate. And there are no recusals needed for CCEA, CC1.
Did anybody understand what she said?
No.
Where? Okay, say it so it's simple words, monosyllables preferably.
The agenda left off an item, the script, excuse me, left off an item that is on the agenda. And that is CCEA, CC1. and we need a motion to approve CCEA CC1.
Motion to approve CCEA CC1.
I second
Thank you,
that.
Mr. Vice Mayor.
I'm so confused right
Well,
now.
let's vote.
Wait, I'm confused. All right, say that. You're saying on our script it's missing.
It's missing from your script. It is on the agenda.
Okay.
It is on the agenda that was posted. It is on the agenda that you have in front of you. It's on the agenda on the website. You have it. It just was inadvertently deleted from your script.
Okay, because I got
Our apologies.
CC1, I just don't have a CCEA.
Correct.
Okay.
So whoever did the script, along with saying vice mayors, was the president.
So it was left off like I was left out this morning at the 5 o'clock.
Yes,
okay.
this agenda item does not get to drive a
All
tractor.
right.
Was the person that did that bowling?
I could not say.
Let's vote. It passes unanimously, which is disappointing because I seriously doubt any of us know what she's talking about.
It's on your agenda.
I have a copy.
Okay.
Would you like me to read it?
No.
I have it.
No,
Okay.
unless you want to.
I'm good.
You was invited to CCEA?
So what is CCEA?
California Choice Energy Authority.
Oh,
It's just the minutes on.
okay. I know what it was then. All right. Remove CC5, CC9, and let's have a motion on the remaining part of the consent calendar.
I'll move that we approve the consent calendar as currently comprised, pulling CC5 and CC9.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Let's vote. Wait a minute, do I need public comment?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
At this time, anyone wishing to comment on any consent calendar item, please press star 9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your call-in number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each and will be remuted after the allotted time. Please press star 9 at this time. Caller with the last 4 digits, 7946, please press star 6 and state your name. Caller with the last 4 digits, 7946, please press star 6 and state your name.
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, I tried to lambaste you on your last thing, but your audio and your setup isn't working again. This is David Aber, but I'm sure we all know who that. So good evening, council members and staff. And by the way, I want to commend the city clerk's office. They've been very helpful with my plight out here at Kensington. But I wasn't trying to talk on the consent calendar. It was like last time when I was trying to talk on, some things you were passing, I couldn't get in. Then when I tried on non-agenda, couldn't get in. Did you guys all get the documents I dropped off for the city manager and all the council members? Can you guys hear me?
David, we can hear you, but as you know, this is not the time to be asking the council questions. It's the time to comment on something on the agenda. Consent calendar at this particular moment.
There are no other excuse me, somebody. Caller with the last 4 digits, 7232, please press star 6 and state your name.
Good evening. My name is Frances Sarah. Good evening, Mayor Ferris and Vice Chair Chris and commissioners, council people. And I just have a quick question. I guess it's just a clarification on CC3 and CC4. I'm going to be asking the same question as about the ADA compliance. Could you clarify what those compliances would be? Would they be like benches with the shelter over covering them, electric lights by the post, signage in larger letters so that's easier to be read? What is meant by ADA compliance on the street lighting for those improvements?
Let me pass this to Kid Man.
Not that I'm an expert, but I'm going to assume that's going to make us in compliance with the American Disabilities Act, right?
Correct, and Jeff can correct me if I'm wrong. Each construction project we do, we're required to update when we do road improvements to ADA compliance. And that includes a long list of items, including handicap ramps, lighting signals, signage, things of that nature, and that's the standard protocol in all of our projects.
Okay, you good, Fran?
There are no additional speakers.
Okay. So we've had a motion, we've seconded, let's vote. It passes unanimously. And thank you, Ken, for your contribution. And before you snicker
You're not
too much,
implying
Raj,
that had
remember-
anything to do with age, were you?
What?
I know there's different types of disabilities. We could probably go into a laundry list, but you weren't implying that had something to do with age, did you?
There was no implication at all.
Okay. I just want to know if there was that veil of...
But have you
That would be
forgot?
ageism.
Have you forgot already about you have to leave the podium? CC5 and CC9, we pulled it for you and Daryl. So we still have to do that.
Yeah, I guess we have to leave.
Well, is it just them, or do I have to leave too?
No, it is Councilmember Mann and Councilmember Doris, who each have conflicts due to the proximity of the project to property they own, who need to recuse.
You know, Ken, you're just going to have to sell some of that property. That's all there is to it.
So,
You know,
give
we
me,
have the town,
give me
for
clear,
heaven's
so I
sakes.
need a point of clarification on I think it was number 5.
CC5 is at the corner of 10th Street West and Avenue J.
Okay, I don't own any property within that proximity.
He owns so much property, he doesn't even know what he owns.
No.
And then on CC9, I need to pull the staff report real quick. Hang on.
Okay, so if you look at my 700 staff reports that I filed every year, I haven't owned any property in that immediate area for over 2 years.
I was just messing with you, Ken. You
I
don't have
know.
to get defensive.
I know, but I just want to clarify.
If that's correct, then you do not need to recuse yourself from CC5.
Right, and then that I would also respectfully request somebody to pay attention to those 700 forms. Because I have filed for 2 years in a row. I dissolved my interest in any property within that corridor.
Okay.
It's like reading a book, Ken, that's why. So I'm the only one that have to leave?
Yeah, we're waiting.
You're waiting?
We
okay.
will need Councilmember
Okay.
Doris to
All right, well,
recuse.
I mean, at least I'm here to leave.
Folks, you got to forgive us. We were up at 3 o'clock this morning to go out.
Some of you.
Yes.
Well,
Others were bowling. Motion to approve CC5 and CC9. Speakers.
Second that.
any speakers? Hearing none, let's vote.
Mr. Mayor, we just hold for one moment so I make sure that I check the location of CC9 and make sure we don't still have a conflict for Mr. Mann. It is at 10th Street West and Avenue J. Mr. Mann, you're clear to vote. Sorry for that.
I just thought that's the reason why we file our 700s every year, so we can disclose, so potentially anybody could see conflicts of interest.
It is why you file your 700s each year, and it looks like we were using an outdated proximity map. So we'll make sure we get that updated.
Okay, thank you.
the problems rich people have, it just breaks your heart, doesn't it? I mean, it just...
Rex, I do not have any property in that particular area.
I'm just saying.
Just saying.
I mean, must be nice having problems like that, you think? Can we vote now?
Yes.
Let's vote. And it passes unanimously. And thank you for your vote, kid.
With Councilmember Doris recusing.
Yes.
Leave him back there a while.
But don't say anything till Delaware goes back. You know how sensitive he's been lately.
I know. Welcome back.
Thank you. I know he really likes me in this council.
That's right. Okay. Let's move on to joint public hearing item 1. Public hearing is now open. We'll hear the staff report from Jason Cottle, City Manager, George Harris, Finance and Technology Director.
Good evening. This is the first time I've been up here in a year and a half, so this is kind of fun to be back at it. I appreciate that.
Well, you better be riveting.
We're going to be riveting. We're going to be exciting. As you know, this time of year is budget season for all of us, and you've been integrally involved in the budget process as well. The budget we're presenting today is a culmination of many months of activities, not only by the City Council, but city staff, as well as Measure LC Committee, which was chaired by Chairman Vos. And this is the culmination of that process, and we'll be sharing that today with the public and yourselves. Again, this year, we we're stirring things up with strategic technology, innovation, and resilience, in that our focus in putting the budget together is focusing on technology improvements, innovation, and resilience. Technology being looking at new ways to do things through new technologies, investing in those technologies and implementing those technologies. 2 is the innovation component of that, is thinking of doing things differently, implementing them differently to effectuate greater change and greater efficiency while maintaining the level of service that is necessary to the public. And of course, resilience, which is foremost in this, is making sure that we can weather storms financially, that in downturns we're there, as well as pandemics and things of that nature, that we're there to respond. Before we get into the details of the budget, I want to talk a little bit about last year's budget and where we were. As you can see, this was obviously a pre-pandemic picture. Last year, although we were shut down or the community had shut down for pandemic-related issues and COVID issues, your city was still working. If you recall, just before the pandemic, opening park facilities, improving park facilities, and doing many things, including building a new soccer park, a soccer pitch, which is a small one that allows for smaller scale games. Continued with our public arts program. The museum was open continuously, working differently, but open continuously. And as you guys have seen, witnessed, and endured, a significant amount of road improvements, which to the tune of close to $94 million last year, and we're going to see that again this year. We've launched a new program in hydrogen, identifying a new vision for energy and a green, sustainable society, and starting with and being led by Lancaster. And of course, our response to COVID, which was part of last year's budget and is reflected in this year's budget as well. The work we did with the auto dealers and citizens and getting them incentives to go buy vehicles, to buy takeout, to buy, be it restaurants, and of course the food giveaway programs that we're all involved in, and the partnerships with our local health providers. We, of course, opened up a site that we anticipated needed to be used, never did, thankfully. The reality was we didn't need that level of care. The problem was we needed this level of care, which is through your efforts and the hospital's efforts and the efforts of our staff, we're able to erect at the peak of COVID and saved a number of lives. And then finally, with COVID, is the opening of our vaccination centers. Obviously coming to the end or the close of this effort and saying not only do we have the chance to help heal people, we have the chance to help prepare people to not get sick. And that's the effort we're enduring today, and it will continue on through this budget process. There were a couple assumptions we made with this budget. First and foremost is this budget is going to be our first budget year out of COVID, and we've gone into this budget with that assumption in mind, that June 15th we anticipate the governor opening us back up again. With that comes expectations from the community and expectations from the business owners, one being that we continue to operate at full capacity, right? Not only full capacity from a standpoint of our operations, but our services, our programs, and the programs that we offer. It also assumes that we're going to be full from a revenue perspective as it relates to a pre-pandemic level that includes sales tax, property tax, and all of our other revenue sources. That is reflected in this year's budget. And two, with the implementation of Measure LC, or the approval of the 3/4 cent sales tax measure, we looked at this budget with the assumption of, one, first, balance our budget within our existing resources, which we've done that process. We looked at an internal staff and said, what can we afford? What can we do? Get to pre-pandemic levels with our process in our budget, and then look at the Measure LC as additive, because we anticipated that is what the citizens wanted, and that's the direction that you guys gave us, is that the additional tax revenue is to provide those additional level of services that the community expects with those additional taxes, and that's the assumption that we have in this budget. We're going to switch to the 2021-2022 plan, and I'm going to turn it over to George Harris to talk to a little bit about the more details of this coming year's budget, and then we'll be available for any questions.
Good evening, George Harris, your Finance Director. Go to the next slide. In aggregate, looking at all funds, we have just over 47 funds that are going to be receiving revenue and expending funds this year. The total amount is $244,210,859, with $180,320 in expenditures. In addition, in operating expenditures, and close to $75 million in capital improvements being added to your capital improvement plan for this fiscal year, with grant and bond measure proceeds from prior years supporting some of those efforts to balance your overall budget. Looking specifically at the general fund is anticipating $91,253,000 with $88,893,000 in expenditures. There are net transfers coming into the general fund for additional support, and $2.8 million in capital improvements out of the general fund. We'll talk about those here shortly, leaving a programmed surplus of $1.2 million that are going to go into the reserves. That number has increased since our briefing as we realigned some of the internal service funds from the other funds to support the general fund. And so that number has improved since we had a chance to meet and brief with the council members by approximately $138,000. As we close the current fiscal year, we expect to have about just over $31.2 million in reserves. We'll finish the year plus the $1.2 million that we just described as surplus, bringing our estimated reserves at the end of the subsequent fiscal year, not the fiscal year we're in, at the end of the budget year that we're describing here, close to $32 million. So with that, I do want to talk a little bit about the reserve structure. I did have a chance in the briefings to provide some insight into that. In looking at the current reserve policy as listed, current reserve policy states that you are to keep a minimum of 10% of expected general fund revenues and reserves with a target of 16%. Right now, the general fund has about a 35% reserve. And so that required us to either amend the reserve policy, which is what I'm recommending, as well as providing some kind of structure to the reserve so that it provides a little bit more insight and direction on how those reserves are to be utilized. And so with that, I'm making a recommendation to be approved with the budget to adopt a 35% reserve, pretty equivalent, pretty close to what we are experiencing now, but breaking that 35% into 4 layers. The first layer would serve as your working capital reserve, which would represent about 10% of your revenues. Working capital is that money that's needed to support the imbalance of cash in earlier part of the year. So As you know, our revenues come in more so at the later part of the year. Our expenditures are pretty equal throughout the 12-month period. So there's a point in time, and it's about a 10% variance in the November timeframe where we just don't bring in to the general fund as much as we spend. And so maintaining 10% in reserves specifically for that purpose will make sure that the cash flow is sustained through that early part of the year until the cash can catch up in the later part, therefore not impacting the cash needs of any other fund activities that are happening throughout the city. The next 15% layer would serve as our rainy day fund. So this is in the event that something like another pandemic were to happen and we were to see decreases in revenues, the operating of the city can be sustained with this layer at about 15% of your actual reserves. The emergency response reserve layer is the third one, represented to the tune of about 5% of revenues. And the idea there is to be able to react immediately to response to an emergency. And that has probably been most prevalent the last 2 years, where the council was very quickly able to make a plan and have the funding to implement protective measures in the event of the emergency. So all the programs that were described on the previous slides, this particular share of the reserves would allow the council to spend from a pot of money specific for that purpose. Of course, the spending of that money would be in anticipation of there being some reimbursement from FEMA to replenish this account so it could be used and available for the next emergency. The next layer, this is one that I'm making a recommendation to the council to add. After being here for 1 year, I've noticed that this particular council in the city is very entrepreneurial. And in the event that opportunities present themselves where we have an opportunity to make an investment in anticipation of a return, a certain portion of the reserves would be established specifically for that purpose. And I'm making a recommendation 5% of the revenues be set aside in the reserve specifically for the purpose to be able to react to business opportunities as they may arrive that can generate a return and continue to replenish this fund for future opportunities as well. The next category of reserves are very specific to our internal service funds that we're setting up for the first time here this year. Those three internal service funds would be for general liability, legal response, fleet maintenance, and information technologies. Reserves would be set up in those amounts listed and provide for fluctuation in the costs that could take place through operational different variances. And then the last layer would be establishing a 25% operational budget reserve for Lancaster Choice Energy. That would have to be funded over some time. That amount represents about $10 million in reserves for that operation. Right now, they're sitting close to $6 million. And so over time, we would build upon through net revenues the goal for LCE. There's a business plan reason for establishing those reserves. LCE will be able to acquire the cheapest power based on having credit that could be better established by having reserves. And right now, that hasn't been much of a priority historically. It initially started as such. Takes a little pressure off of rates changes as well by having those reserves and being able to handle fluctuations in the cost of energy. The reserves would be able to pad those tough years. But in general, the idea there is to add reserves, improve the credit rating and the credit profile of LCE to be able to acquire power at the cheapest rates for the customers. Personnel, this particular budget in front of you makes a recommendation for 16 total new positions, 7 of which would be established for the establishment of the hybrid policing model that has been discussed variable times over the last few years, and as part of the Measure LC related costs that are be recommended to you this evening. But this slide provides a little history. Back in 2018-19, the city had 264 FTEs. That number was reduced in 1920. Reduced again in the current fiscal year down to 239 positions, and the recommendation with the addition of hybrid policing model, the expansion of recreation programming, and to fill some internal service positions to the tune of 16 positions still just brings us up to the level of 255 positions. I'm actually glad Chairman Vos joined us today. He was very instrumental in this next portion of the presentation. So we talked about the priorities that were set by the committee. The committee had actually provided quite a bit of insight into how to organize the goals and the objectives of the use of the Measure LC funds. They identified 3 priorities. The number 1 priority was life safety elements. Number 2 was public safety. Number 3 was quality of life. And then, being your conservative financial director, I recommended the 4th, sound fiscal foundation, and providing that adequate support staff to be able to make sure that we can facilitate all the new items that were being recommended. Under the life safety category, the expansion of the illegal dumping encampment cleanup program that began this year. It began as a pilot program this year. In this budget before you, there's $1,066 being sent to that program, $466,000 of it being spent from Measure LC funds, $600,000 coming from gas tax revenues.
So is the ACLU going to contribute to the encampment cleanups?
That's a good question. Maybe they can help us bring it from $1 million to something higher than that. But the idea is that
something tells me they probably won't.
They won't. And then the City Hall Resiliency Project includes it's a battery powered storage project here for City Hall.
I got an idea. Why don't we collect the needles, the discarded needles at these encampments, and send them to the ACLU?
That's sarcasm. I know.
Tell me just a thought.
Our city attorney is squirming.
She's got a laser thing under here. She's stabbing.
I mean, I just like to see
reply.
them do something beneficial. Like, never mind. Can you tell I'm bitter? Oh, $1 million cleaning up people's trash because they won't. You know what we could do with that $1 million? I mean, you know how many kids we could send to college with that $1 million? I am. Is everybody else fed up with this homeless thing? I mean, $1 million just to clean up after them?
And this is on top of what Waste Management does within their own contract with the city, because they do a lot of alley work and that.
Correct. This is specifically our team with the contractor that's going out and picking the stuff up, and we've hired a body to manage
So it's
this
far more
process.
than $1 million is my point, that
As far as the total effort.
we have a contract with Waste Management that requires them to clean up also, and they do their portion, plus we have to do $1 million more.
Evelyn, quiero cafecito? Por favor. See, I'm practicing my Spanish.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good there.
He said, get Marvin a cup of coffee.
I didn't hear Marvin. So under the public safety category, you have the hybrid law enforcement model totaling about $2.5 million. And the traffic enforcement enhancement program that we've talked about in partnership with Palmdale, going into a joint contract with them with the CHP to increase traffic enforcement throughout the city. Under the quality of life categories, an additional $5.2 million is being spent this year in our breakout party, which is our recovery from COVID and re-engaging the community in our public spaces and through events and programming. The event center development concept with Palmdale, $1.5 million is being spent on that in original design and concept. Biotech Incubator Lab, $1 million. Art in Public Places, $300,000. And the programmatic EIR traffic study to create a impact fee for those developers who are looking to come to town and where it's cost prohibitive for them to actually go through their own traffic studies. We're coming up with an impact fee that they can pay in lieu thereof.
Is the Art in Public places an increase in what we've been spending?
That's correct. This is the first year we've put money towards that program.
So do we have a projection of just how much public space we can put art in?
I'm not sure how far the 300,000 will go. We'll have to get some designs, get some locations, and go from there. But I'm sure our Parks Director and our Public Works staff can start nailing that down and get some projects before you for approval to spend that money. But the idea is to get it started with the 300,000.
It just seems light. I mean, I'm astonished how much better the city looks with the public art that we've done in the past 3-4 years. I want more of it, not less. I think it does something to the entire well-being of the community. And
yeah. One thing to note too is this is in addition as well to the capital infrastructure we're building, which has arts associated with the interchanges and things of those natures as well. So we continue to do the park or the art in public places with construction and our capital team. This is in addition to that, which will be delivered and handled by MOA, the arts program.
Okay, thank you.
And the last category is the recommended by your finance director to put some money into reserves, continue to do so, and then add those support positions to make sure that there's enough internal staff to support all the additional activities. So that is the summary of all of the activities being added as a result of the Measure LC being approved, total of the estimated $13.7 million. Chairman Vos happens to be here tonight based on our invitation. He was very helpful in helping us to approve and align these goals with the original drafted ordinance as well as the goals that were set by the committee. They took action on it on June 2nd, I believe, in their meeting and have advanced this list to the council for consideration. At this time, I'll turn it over to Trolise to go over the capital improvement project.
Wait a minute, before you go back to that last slide. Explain the parks, programs, and events to me a little bit better. I mean, it just seems like a lot of money.
So what you have is coming out of COVID where we virtually did nothing as far as parks, programming, and events. Now you have a first year back where we're able to do that. So if you go across the board from the tutoring program that we're going to add this summer and into next year, that's in there. The additional 3 management staff to help manage these projects. All of your parks and programming coming back into the fold as it's been absent. You have concerts, you have events, Poppy Festival, all of those events that did not take place last year were now able to take place. And then maintenance and capital. So the cost of actually now maintaining the soccer fields now they're in use is significantly higher than the last couple of years when they were not in use. And so when you aggregate across the entire department, we see $5.2 million in increases that we would not have been able to do without Measure LC so urgently.
Who can tell me about the tutoring program?
Actually, your Parks Director, Sonia, is probably the best person to explain that. And I believe we have a presentation coming up at the next meeting to discuss that.
Should I just wait till the next meeting?
It'll be more complete next meeting.
It will be more complete. But it's $600,000 total, $300,000 for the summer program and another $3,000 for the start of the next school year. And the partnership with
Grace Chapel is going to be is a partner we're looking to partner with for the summer catch-up program. And they will be here on June 22nd to do the presentation regarding their program, and we'll have a staff report on the agenda for council approval that evening. And then we're looking for additional partners or vendors to bring on for a school year tutoring program, so we're working on developing that at the moment.
And the idea being we can lift everybody back up to where they should be in their educational development?
That's correct. The fundamental basis of the program is to make sure we capture all those kids that were left behind through the virtual learning and give them an opportunity to get in-person tutoring to help bring them back up. So the idea is that the program is going to be for the 1 year to help catch those kids up. And if we see some value, I can see there being another recommendation to continue.
Grace Chapel is looking to serve 450 students this summer alone.
Okay, good. Thank you.
George? clarify for me real quick, when you're saying a percent, which number are we taking a percent from?
From the reserves, for the calculation of the reserves?
From all the reserves that we're putting together?
General fund revenue. So if you go back to slide number 17, the basis for the number was that revenue number of $91,253,000. So that's your general fund revenue number. And I'll go back to slide 15.
Okay, you showed it was 244.
No, for the general fund reserves. So we're specifically looking at the general fund totals. And so it'd be that $91,253,000 is the basis for the calculation.
Okay.
I have a question for Sandy real quick with the tutoring programs. Grace Chapel is an excellent choice. Are there any other people that did they just get picked, or whether, because I do know that Jacob Johnson runs a tutoring major tutoring program for the summer, and they do about 100, 200 kids also. So I'm wondering, are there other programs that will be given the opportunity to help with a lot of the kids that are underprivileged that need to be caught up when they get back to school, or is it just certain ones that have been approached already and others will have the opportunity to join in that tutoring program?
Grace Chapel approached us for their summer program, and in order to get it off the ground quickly, their partner we're looking for initially, we're exploring to add additional partners for the school year program. So we're definitely open and want to see what other partners are out there and who else is at the table that can provide these services.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So if there's no other questions, I'll turn it over to Trelise.
Have we talked to Jacob Johnson about his program? I mean, I thought he had an impressive an impressive summer program that, you know, I mean, I'd like you to talk to him.
Will do.
Thank you.
So thank you, George. I'm going to quickly run through our CIP program and our budget quick. I will say, going back to your question about the parks program and the parks monies, there is a significant portion of deferred maintenance and just state of good repair things on a lot of our facilities that needed to get done that we haven't been doing the last 10, 15 years. So a lot of that is built into that money too. So you'll see things like the bathrooms, the air conditioners, the fields, all that stuff is going to be picked up and just better maintained and a better environment for our residents. So that's part of that as well. So
Say nothing of the needles we need to clean up.
So going into our capital budget, our philosophy really aligns well with our Measure LC philosophies that came out of the commission that Vos helped out with. We've really, when we're programming our projects, we've really focused on quality of life, state of good repair, life safety, and economic development. And we've done that through the years. Last year was no exception. As we run through the projects, you'll see those themes go through. Last year, 2021, we had a fairly robust budget of $124 million. And despite COVID, our capital team, they cranked. Kudos to Marisa Diaz, our capital programs manager, her team. They did not miss a beat. They did $12 million in paving. You see it all over town now. They expanded the Prime Desert Woodland Trails. They did traffic safety upgrades throughout town. And surprisingly, I'd like to point out on these traffic safety improvements, sometimes it's not always the projects with the big budget make the biggest impact to our community. You'll see like a simple traffic adding protected lefts for $100,000 at J8 and 25th Street West, reduced collisions there by, and let me get this right, 86%. So that was over the same time period, it was 22 collisions down to 3. So a little $100,000 projects can sometimes make a huge difference.
What was the improvement?
The protected left, so the red, yellow, green left turn arrows.
Really?
Yes. So what we noticed when our traffic engineering team looked into that particular location, they were having a high number of broadside collisions, meaning people were risking making dangerous left maneuvers. So we ended up installing those for $100,000, and you're able to, 86% reduction there. So sometimes the little projects make a big difference in our community, and I think that's worth noting. Last year, too, we completed LPAC improvements. We're going to do more this year, specific to the lighting. And then we also did improvements to our community center to get that ready to go, to start rolling out a lot of community programs there. You will see, as we talked about, the tutoring program being the center of that, kicking off here in early July. So moving forward to this year, what do we have? We have a $75 million worth of restricted funds that we're budgeting. If you add in the monies that are rolling from this past year's budget into that, we have a robust budget of $144 million. What is in there? We have $28 million this year for paving. We're continuing the work on the Avenue J interchange. We're going to kick off the Avenue K interchange. We're starting the City Hall renovation and remodel. We have LPAC improvements that I mentioned earlier. We're finaling the design on the health district, and you'll see about $24 million of improvements in and around the hospital to really benefit that district and help expand that area. As George mentioned, the event and evacuation center, biotech lab, we have Mariposa and Weber Park improvements, a lot more traffic safety enhancements, and then the $500,000 reserved for the City Hall resiliency project, which will add batteries and or hydrogen technology to take it off the grid and ensure that in the event of an emergency, we're able to self-sustain from a power standpoint. That really covers all of the major projects going into this $75 million. I will point out, you'll notice a significant portion of it is in our roads. That is, as Jason likes to say, it is our biggest asset, but it's also our biggest liability, and it's been, neglected through the years, so now is the time to catch that up, and that's what we're doing through this $28 million in paving. With that concludes my portion on the capital budget. I think it concludes our overall presentation for the evening. We'd ask council to take action as identified in the staff report, and George, Jason, and I are available for questions.
Any questions?
I do. How much is the program that Grace was doing?
It's $600,000, so it's $300,000 for the summer program and another $300,000 for the school year program.
And we have a $300,000 available in surplus, correct? So if we wanted to make that $300,000 available, if Parks deems their program worthy, we can budget it now?
Yeah. Correct.
I want to see the program.
Well, that's what I said, if it's worthy.
Okay. But I want to, what do you want to do?
I want to budget it now so we have it, so we can get the program working if it's worthy to do. If it's not, if they don't deem it or you don't deem it correct, then it's not. But it's there if they need it.
Oh, I see. Okay. But I want to see before we write a check of that size. I want to know the absolute details, the specifics, exactly what we're going to be providing with that kind of money.
The presentation will be next week, and we can make those adjustments next week as well, or next council meeting.
I want more than the presentation. I mean, you come up here and you make a presentation, it's a summary. I want to know. I want to see it. I want to feel it. All right?
Got it.
Okay. Good. Agree?
Close the public hearing.
We need to take public comment first.
What?
We need to take public comment before we close the public hearing.
Yes, okay, thank you.
At this time, anyone wishing to comment on item JPH1, please press *9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your call-in number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each and will be remuted after the allotted time. Please press *9 at this time. Caller with the last 4 digits, 7946, please press *6 and state your name.
Good evening. This is David Abbott. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
How could we not? Yes, David.
Great.
What do you have for us?
I want to know what we're going to do with the Kensington Penitentiary and upgrading the maintenance on the property, better security guards, property management's been attacking people out here. We still have a problem, but good news is Heather's right now. People concerned is distributing mail because I got the postal inspectors on property management, and they understand that that's called invasion of privacy. And you, the mayor, you're well aware, your words were, those people paranoid. It's elementary if somebody was touching your mail, that's not going to be good. Well, it isn't good. You guys might consider staffing a couple sheriffs out here then you would eliminate the calls that you're making out here, which are numerous. 3 times a day the fire trucks come. Maybe you should set up a triage. So with this being a budget meeting, I hope you budgeted for the place, because people feel this is a penitentiary. You have dog feces everywhere. Nobody wants to clean it up. You have villas that aren't secure, even though they put a memo out dated June the 4th. So, you know, is there money to be in here so that these people here can be safely and healthily out, as the people concerned mission statement states? Or if they aren't going to clean up the mail issue, then they need to let everybody know they need to get their own private mailboxes, because many of us already have signed because it's an invasion of privacy. So we have problems out here. Maintenance of the property, improperly trained guards. Check how many calls. You guys are big on that. See how many service calls you have to Kensington. See how the fire department's been here. So you might want to think about saving up taxpayers the money by building a triage, as I'm repeating.
Whoa. David, did you say us taxpayers? I think you misspoke there, didn't you?
No, Rex, I pay taxes too. Nice try. See, your clown act doesn't work on me. Here, I'm a taxpayer. And I always have been. Okay? So your double speak and your hypocrisy. This is your baby, and your words were, you were disappointed, but you didn't come to visit me so I could give you a tour. None of you wanted to come out here to see what's really going on. The underage slave prostitution, the overage prostitution, and all the criminal activity. So if you want to clean the mess up here, because I'm only asking the question, are you going to throw...
Okay, David, thank you. Your time's up. You know, it seems to me that, I mean, a huge investment went into Kensington to provide people a good place to live. But I clean up my dog. Why can't you clean up your dog? I mean, that's pretty simple to me. You really want to call in and complain because we're not cleaning up the mess that your dogs are leaving on the ground. For heaven's sakes, there's...
So, Rex, let me, I know we're not...
You see why I shouldn't get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and come to a council meeting?
Trelise and I, specifically since my name was called out the last meeting, I had the staff set up a meeting with me to go out to Kensington. Spent maybe 2 hours out there. We walked the whole facility. I actually stopped to speak to some of the people that was being serviced there and had in-depth conversations with them. And I would say 90% of the conversations were just totally positive. Talked to the workers. I made sure to break away while they were doing the tour. The 10%, I'm sure you asked what they say, there were minor concerns, things that they felt probably could have been a little better, but it wasn't anything that was to their detriment, anything that they felt they were in fear or that they felt they were being violated. I saw the apartments, saw the bungalows, saw the intake. They showed us everything, even the future. It'll be at total capacity real soon. I saw the gate where the security is, and the last time I've been there, they didn't have a gate. So it is totally secure. I did ask about the mail issue, and Trelise, you can help me that I don't say this wrong. I think one of the issues with the mail was that it was, the Postal Service put it sort of like a prison where it's all mass mail and they have to distribute it. Am I correct how that was stated? And they're trying to change it to where it's individual. So it's not on Kensington or the people concerned, it's on the postal. Am I saying that correctly?
That is correct. The post office has designated it like you would a large apartment, or not apartment, but facility. So all the mail comes into one mailroom similar to City Hall, and then they're required to distribute it. Right. So Sonia and her team have actually been working with the Kensington people to get the designation changed with the postmaster, but it's a process to go through that. So as we work through that, they will get their individual mailboxes at some point in the near future.
Right. Excellent facility. They even broke my diet. I was trying to do keto, and they gave me these coconut. I must have took home about, how many, 5, Sonia? I felt shame. But I viewed the whole place. I really did. We went through nooks and crannies, spoke to people that were in there for intake, I even probably spoke to people they didn't want me to speak to. I'll be honest with you. No issues whatsoever. I even asked for David Abner. Where is he? And they said, well, Councilman, you may not you'll be here all day. So for what I saw and for how long we were there, we had lunch there, we talked to everybody there, I was very impressed. So, you know, one perception is one thing. My perception, I mean, I'm sure any facility needs, you know, they could do better. But for what I saw and what we're doing out there, I was very proud of that facility. So,
thank you. How are we on calls for service out there?
We do have a number of calls for service. I know Lee and Sonia and Trelise as a team have been working on how to alleviate them. Some are unnecessary calls that could be handled differently. Some are very necessary calls, and it's the communication effort between staff and residents there. But they're working closely with the Sheriff's Department on figuring that out.
And if I can add, we have a monthly security meeting with Kensington, Lee, myself, and Melissa, and we go over any concerns for security, their calls for service, and Lee's been working very closely with their security team, and he can testify, you know, better than I can, but he's very satisfied with the protocols they put into place and what's occurring.
Okay, good. You know, I think Kensington is a wonderful program. I think that, you know, everything has grounds for improvement or need, you know, you can always improve everything. And, you know, I'd apologize to the Kensington people for the David Abbers of the world that, you know, they're so toxic and they criticize everything and they want everything handed to them that I wish we didn't have to put up with it or listen to it, because this is really a revolutionary program in many respects. And is it a work in progress? Of course it's a work in progress. We're doing something that has never been done before. And it's difficult to blaze a new trail like that, for what it's worth. But thank you, Daryl, for going out there and dealing with it. But it's not going to work if we don't get those calls for service down. It's too expensive. You know, we can't add deputies just for Kensington. That has to be resolved somehow. It may be just by evicting the people that are the problem. You know, but are we allowed to evict people? I mean, is the COVID eviction freeze still in place?
I believe it has been lifted, but I would have to confirm to be sure.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So.
There are no additional speakers at this time.
I'm sorry, what?
There are no additional speakers at this time.
So I can close the public hearing?
You can close the public hearing.
12 years, I finally got it right. Wow.
Well done.
See, it's not dementia.
And he was driving the tractor.
That's what it was. It made me feel young, right?
I just want to add, there is no action item tonight. This is really just to review the PowerPoint and ask any questions that you may have. The actual action to take on the budget document and the plan for the year will come back on the 22nd.
Can you make sure that the Jacob Johnson process is in there? It's approved by the council, approved by Parks and Rec, and then we could add that to the budget that was presented?
Okay. Well,
you know, Jacob put together an incredible summer program, and he did it with just the folks at his church. And when I went over there and saw it, I was blown away by it. Right. And I don't want that opportunity to not receive the attention it deserves. All right.
And so I want to just make sure it's clear. So just you would like to add another $300,000 to that effort?
No.
Or okay.
No.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Hey, we're Republicans. We don't just throw money away. I mean, I want to know the budget first. I want to know what the request is. I don't want to just say, hey, here's $300,000, do what you want with it.
Okay.
I understand that.
Okay. So, yeah.
But his is 3 weeks.
Okay. That's what
There is all year.
They're up too.
Okay. So what are you saying to me?
I'm saying get the 300,000. They can approve. Everyone can approve what it is, but.
Oh, get the 300 now in case we can use it later?
An appropriate direction to staff would be to to solve, I think, what is the dilemma is to direct that they include in the budget presentation at the next meeting an additional $300,000 for tutoring programs, and then the council can take it up then when you hear the full presentation on the tutoring that same night.
You know what you just did to the request, don't you?
I thought I was helping. If I didn't, I apologize.
No. It wasn't you. It was him. I mean, I know Jacob. I guarantee you that's going to be a $300,000 request.
Same amount.
All right. We'll deal with that when we get there. But yeah, the tutoring program is a priority. I want our kids back on track. And even if they weren't on track, I want them on track. I don't want any parent that all they got to do is get their kid to us, and we'll lift them up to where they need to be. All right?
Yes, sir.
That's the goal. Okay, good. So, you need anything else from me?
No, sir. Just here to answer questions.
Okay, good. I know you're out there dancing, Jacob.
Yes. Okay.
So we don't have to vote on anything. Council reports. By the way, you guys are doing a tremendous job.
Yes, George.
I mean, to emerge out of COVID in this financial position is truly remarkable. I mean, no other city has done it to my knowledge. Okay, council reports?
I have a lot, but I'm too tired.
Well, okay. Save it for next week.
I will.
Next time. I have a report. I drove a tractor today.
I want you to go last, so can I say mine real quick? I just got one, and I'll let you. I was also able this week to go with Congressman Garcia, Sean Cannon, and the NAACP president, again, Pastor Jacob Johnson. We went to the prison out at Avenue I and saw a program that just really astonished me. I know we hear people say that there isn't no real rehabilitation programs in the prisons, but I saw one that just blew me away, and it was lifers, and they run their own program. And because of the programs that they run, from art to taking care of rescue animals to learning trade, there's been over 30 commutations that the governor has done in this prison up here. And so it was really phenomenal what we saw. And I was there because of the recidivism rate, and it's kind of personal to me. I have a family member. My sister is no secret. When she finished doing her time, one of the first places that offered her a job was out here in Lancaster, Hometown Buffet. And she became a manager there at the time. But they were incentivized to hire felons, nonviolent felons. A lot of those programs have left now. So I've been really concerned with what we can do in our community, since we have a prison here and many of the families move up here to be close to them. What do we do when they get out and they really want to connect back to society and give back, and they've already paid their debt? And so the congressman, I, and the warden, and different other ones went out there, and I was really impressed with men that had no hope, that now they have hope, that they can come back to the community. And these are nonviolent felons that somehow have 30 to life. And it was very inspiring, Rex, to really see them. And so they were looking at me and just saying, Councilman, I don't know how much power you have in the city level, but we would love to get out and feed our families, and we would love to have a chance to connect back to the community, and we're just looking for a chance. So it really did touch me. I was trying to separate my pastor side from my civic side. I really was. But these men have hope now, and they're getting bachelor degrees, they're getting master degrees. All of these are ran by the inmates themselves. They watch it. They make sure that the right people come in. They have no issues in there. And it's one of the model programs. And I was asking the warden, why aren't more prisons doing this? And they said because the prison has to buy in, but the felons run them. and they protect that program with their life. They do not they kick people out themselves. They'll tell the warden he can't be here. So it was really phenomenal what we saw. And I didn't feel any fear being around them. Didn't feel none whatsoever. They were welcoming us like, look at what we're doing, look at what we're accomplishing. I mean, art that you're going to see in MOA. You're going to see some of their art in MOA. Matter of fact, one of the art, Jimmy Kimball, I saw the art piece that they're getting ready to auction off that Jimmy Kimball is going to buy and auction off for the children's hospital because it saved their daughter. His daughter, I guess, is something. He was telling me the story of it. And I saw the artist that did it there, and he's up for parole. They're giving him a chance to be up for parole. And he's going to come out and teach. And so one of the issues that they're having is getting people to come in to teach the program because the warden is saying that their monies has been cut to help programs like that, to get these men back into society and give them a fighting chance. So it really touched me. It touched me, and it showed that if you give these men hope, they can change and they can turn around. And of the 30 or 40 that's been commuted, I don't know what the span of years is, none of them have returned. Not one. No recidivism in this program from 60th and I. Not one. Now that blew me away. I don't know the year yet, but it's been at least 30 or 40. And according to the warden, not one has returned being in that program that we saw with Congressman Garcia and all. And we got cut short because of the tragedy of Aqua Dulce. And the congressman had to leave to go. It was supposed to be a 4-hour tour. We only did it for about an hour and a half. But we were all just impressed. Sean Cannon really, Pastor Jacob Johnson, but the congressman and I, we were just blown away by it. So it can be hope in those programs. So I just wanted to give that report.
Thank you. That was worth hearing.
Yeah,
it was good.
And we do have an opening on the prison board. Can you make an appointment to that?
Sure.
Well, when it's agendized, she was getting her mic ready.
We'll need to agendize that.
All right.
Next
but I want somebody that's actually going to do it and be engaged in it. And, I mean, I actually think most crime is contextual, meaning you find yourself in a situation and bad things happen. I also think there's a significant portion that they're just bad people. But if you can make the separation between the two, I think BYD is a classic example. They're thriving. And a significant portion of that workforce has history. Jason and I met with this company today. That was really fabulous. Can I talk about it now, you think?
We're in council reports, yes.
Okay, so it's like 80 acres, but it's greenhouses that are really big. I mean, really big. And they're able to use very little water. The power they generate will be with their own generators, gas-powered generators, but it recycles 95% of the effluent that comes out of it because it takes the carbon and feeds it to the plants, right? And they can grow 30 times the amount of produce on the same amount of property, same amount of land, and with remarkably little water in the process. But they'll be opening one here soon. It'll employ 150 people, and if it's successful, they'll build more and more of them. But we're going to return to a major agricultural center. But it's going to be with the most revolutionary technology in farming. I was really impressed. And Jason told them that they're going to have to let the city have a piece of it. So we'll see how that develops. But I'm excited about it. Good things are happening. Okay. What else? I'm lost. I'm exhausted.
We're on council reports, Rex. You may want to report on the operation, and we do have a video for you. If you want to play the video.
That operation. So, Lancaster took on the cartels, didn't we? Whether
Daryl wasn't there.
What?
Daryl wasn't there.
Daryl wasn't there, that's right.
I was there
Well,
in
it is
spirit.
hotels. And I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of, product and infrastructure is coming down. And, anybody who badmouths the sheriff, they ought to be horsewhipped, because what he did today was truly remarkable. I've never seen this level of law enforcement in this community. There were 500 police officers out there. And they're going to stay here till every one of those hoop houses are down. I can't think of a greater existential threat to our way of life other than letting them, if we continue to let them get a foothold in our community. I mean, everybody knows just how bad it could get, because we don't have to look very far south to see what they did to Mexico. I mean, it is simply intolerable to allow those people into our community. And how the sheriff has stepped up and dealt with it was commendable. I was blown away by it, weren't you?
Absolutely. The direction, I mean, there were so many different agencies. There was San Bernardino Sheriff Department. There was the Ventura Sheriff Department, Kern County Sheriff Department. There was Riverside Police Department. There was LA Police Department, the DEA, the narco units, the CHP. Everybody was there to help. The National Guard was in there. But it's important to point out that this is taking place 17 miles out of our jurisdiction. When they crossed the line into LA County, Lancaster did step up and say, not in our valley. So I think that's the important part, and we were part of the solution. Public Works was a big part of it today, watching them coordinate the destruction of everything, along with getting out of Rex's way. It was very, very impressive that many people working together to do that, and that many jurisdictions working together. It was very, very impressive.
Now, they let me play with the tractor, but they wouldn't let me play with a gun. So,
pretty smart people.
Okay, let's see the video. Jennifer, that was really good. She did that with just a couple hours to edit that all together. Wow. We got some rock stars in this place. Thank you.
Rex, can I publicly say, all seriousness aside,
Well, wait a minute. Jennifer, did you do it? Louder.
Annabelle did it.
Annabelle did it. Annabelle, stand up. Stand up. I'm sorry, Daryl.
No, go ahead. She deserves it, and I salute you guys. In all honesty, I support our sheriffs wholeheartedly in this endeavor. And when I was told by our vice mayor that it would be a secret operation the other night and that they would be out there, I instantly had people in our ministry praying for them and for their safety. I'm all for accountability of our sheriffs and transparency. I'm all for our hybrid policing model, but I am for what they're doing right now, and I support them. And any sheriff that's listening, if our community, the thousands that will watch this, Councilman Darrell Doris is supportive of our sheriff department and all DA agents and every agent that's doing this to keep our community safe. I really support this, so shout out to you guys for that. And I am praying for you and your safety and the families of this Antelope Valley and the farmers that have been affected by this and the different ones that have been already bullied by these evil people that are trying to come into our community to do this. I really am, so good job. Y'all look like Marvel superheroes out there.
Annabelle, what happened to the shot of me jumping out of the helicopter?
I want a black lightning suit when I do mines.
Okay, anybody else? We good? Okay. City manager, do you have any announcements?
Yes, a couple things real quick. First, apologize for Lee not being here. Well, I'm not apologizing. He's not here because he's been out on that operation since 3 in the morning. So he would be here happy to answer any budget questions. But, shout out to Lee and our public safety team and Public Works for doing their job on that. Just an amazing coordination of effort. So shout out to those guys. Vaccine stats, Dr. Trong and Dr. Stock talked a little bit about it. We had the Vax Challenge going on and the Great Summer Giveaway. We have close to 400 participating in that, so the numbers are really good. At the same token, the odds are really good still, too. So for those that need to participate, 12 and up, we have a summer giveaway, which includes something you get when you get a vaccine and a number of different opportunities to win, as well as a challenge with your school to potentially win funds for your school and their PTA or their operations at school. So that is an active program that we're actively marketing, again, encouraging people to get vaccinated. And that'll be going out throughout the summer. Again, we mentioned June 27th, Trace Adkins. Get your tickets. They're on sale currently. We have rules associated with that. As we mentioned, vaccinated gets first dibs and better seats than the others. And then we're tracking to see what happens with the state June 15th to make sure we comply with every rule there is. And we're looking forward to that concert. It's going to be fantastic as a opportunity to commune again as a community. The LPAC's 30th anniversary is coming up, and as a result, they're getting a paint job. So we're going to update LPAC as part of our stewardship and efforts to continually upgrade our facilities, and you'll be seeing that soon. First softball tournament is June 19th, so we're bringing tournaments back, and our first soccer tournament was held last weekend, and we did a mobile vax site there as well, so that we're trying to be a little more creative as it relates to if we're inviting people to the community. Let's get the opportunity to get those mobile vax sites out there and keep encouraging that effort as well. But it's good to see our facilities getting used again, and of course, staying in hotels, participating actively as youth in our community and getting that information out. Our pavement management program, we're grinding and paving on Sierra Highway and Lancaster Boulevard still, so we'll try to avoid those areas. And the Avenue J interchange, local streets, grading and paving on J between 15th and 25th is coming soon. So hotel's on its way to being completed. The street work is going back in as we speak, and we're looking to open that, I believe, in September. Give me a nod to Shannon. Is it September-ish, the hotel? So we'll have a new hotel on the boulevard and opportunity for some of those softballers to come and stay. So we appreciate your work tonight.
Great, thank you.
Are they going to have to show their vaccination cards? Is that how we'll know if they're vaccinated?
For the concert, yes.
Okay.
If they're sitting in the vaccinated section.
Okay. Okay, good.
Okay, city clerk.
At this time, anyone wishing to comment on non-agendized items, please press *9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your call-in number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each and will be remuted after the allotted time. State law prohibits the council from taking action on items not listed on the agenda. Please press *9 at this time. Caller with the last 4 digits, 7946, please press *6 and state your name.
Good evening, David Aber. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Comedian, so let's clear up a few things. You guys knew you were in for this. First first and foremost, we do have mailboxes out here, and we get our mail in those boxes, but it's not handled by the post office. That's a federal offense. It's a shame the mayor can't get the lawsuit with the invasion of privacy. Moving right along, Mr. Doris already had to speak with the wonderful site director, Michelle Bissett, who I work with day in and day out to make this a better place and safer. Rex, you will go down as a failure with this project because it's not about the dog crap on the ground. And when Daryl comes out here and says, we talked to all the people, well, there's been shootings out here, stabbing, regular beatings every day. There's women out here that are senior citizens that are afraid to go out of their permanent housing. So you guys can embellish and fabricate all you want. So I will invite you one last time on a tour with me and Michelle and my wonderful case manager, LaWanda, and we'll take you around and I'll introduce you to people that live here that will tell you the horror stories. So the embellishment and the fabrication, I want to commend Councilman Molly, Councilman Mann, as well as Vice Mayor Chris, Jason Call, and the wonderful city clerk's office, okay? Period. Those are people doing their job. They don't make rude comments to people calling in. Rick, you've always been the way you have. You couldn't carry my job strap. Period. We all know that. So the clown show can continue. This is a failure. You have security guards. The first company here, I was able to get rid of OGAP. And Rex, you mentioned about evicting people. They've been trying to evict me since October the 5th when I reported to your body that people from out of span were coming here. So enough is enough. Valley Oasis misplaced me here. Stop there, Rex. Go back and get a piece of them. And
30 seconds.
We can work on where I belong. So, you know what? You can blame all the smoke and, act like a bunch of clowns with the exception of the people I called out by name. So, you know what? Don't tell me it's about the dog crap. And don't tell me, Gary, you've been out here to that point. Because you didn't. Because Michelle was given notice you were coming. I talked with the wonderful Michelle, who's the site director, who asked the battle.
Well, wasn't that uplifting?
Did he say I didn't come out there?
Why would you give up?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What did he say there? Oh, I don't lie, and I need everybody to know that I don't lie. I have no reason to lie. I was out there with the deputy mayor. I think I just saw her. I don't lie. I have no reason to lie. And
Heather, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Yes, we both went on a tour there, and Daryl.
Heather, was I there?
Absolutely.
I there? Oh, okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't dreaming.
Right, and talked to quite a few of the residents, both in interim and permanent housing.
So, Heather, how is it out there?
For the most part, I think a lot of the residents are very happy with what's going on. We've seen progress. There's monthly meetings that are happening between the city and the people concerned management to improve various things. I think it's going well.
Good. Thank you.
Rex, we are doing something that has never been done. It's never been tried.
David Aber.
Well, I mean, I'm like this. If it's that bad and you can do better, find you a place that you feel is that much better. But for what I saw and the time that I spent and for what has been here, I think it's wonderful. We both said that it can be some improvement. The staff has said that we need to work on the calls. But we have close to 300 people. 300.
Is there 300 people out there now? I thought build-out was 500, Heather. Is that right?
Does Sonia know? I don't know the exact number.
I'm fuzzy on the exact number. I know the permanent supportive housing, I believe, is 150 at its max capacity, and then there's the interim housing, and I don't remember the numbers on
I
top.
think they told me 150 with that also, because we saw the little rooms that they have for the intake. We saw the showers. We saw all of that, Sonia.
And there's 3 of those interim
Right.
housing facilities, so it might be another 150 for that.
Yeah,
so.
I believe the total capacity is 256, but I don't know what it is currently in the interim housing because of the COVID restrictions. So they are slightly decompressed in the interim housing right now.
So are they preparing food and doing all that? Are they fully open now?
Yes.
Okay, great. And then they're having to deal with David Aber in the process. So what a challenge. My hat's off to them. So what, never mind, I'll deal with it later. Thanks. Thank you, Heather. Anything else we should know? I guess not. Anybody else?
Caller with the last 4 digits, 7232, please press star 6 and state your name.
Good evening again, Mayor Paris.
Hey, friend, how are you?
I'm recovering, actually. I had surgery on my nose. I had cancer on my nose. So I'm sitting here relaxing for a change.
Well,
anyway,
I hope you get better.
Thank you very much. I want to say I feel good to see you guys laughing and having a good time. It's been a long time since that's happened, since we've been in oh my goodness gracious. Anyway, I'll just get on to my next thing. I wanted to say we had a person from the Lancaster Senior Center, Nancy Harrington, was awarded Older American Recognition Award in May from the LA County Older Adult Commission. And I thought that would be nice because he came from the Antelope Valley. I'm pressing for the Antelope Valley, and it's coming through. And she works very hard at the senior and making the food and helping everybody there. She's very well deserved to get this award. And there again, thank you very much. I'm glad I'm able to still be a participant in your group here and for working for the city and for our city. Thank you again. Good night. Have a good night, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Fran. Anyone else?
There are no additional speakers.
You know, Heather told me a story the other day or last week. She was at one of the homeless encampments, and she watched a woman who was 6 months pregnant going through the needles in the ground, in the dirt, trying to find a clean one so she could inject herself. That's the sort of stuff that's going on. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because I want to look into a needle exchange program. I see no benefit to allowing or to not doing something about situations like that. There is no benefit to it. You know, addiction does exist. People do become drug addicts, and they will do anything to alleviate the pain of being in withdrawals, including subjecting their unborn child to whatever disease happens to lurk within those dirty needles she picked up off the ground. We have to do something about that. But I want to be transparent about it and let everybody know that that's the direction we're moving, because we're going to take some heat for it. But I don't see why we've waited so long. So,
how are we with the mental health clinic, and do they have addictions with the new clinic, the new hospital? It's not a hospital, the one on I that we all went to the groundbreaking. What's
the
going on
urgent
with
care?
that? Yeah.
They're not actually treating addiction there, but I have reached out to them and asked them to help us with developing an addiction program that has a little better success rate than what we're used to seeing. And they're helping us put together an innovative program for that, and that was at your suggestion, Mr. Mann. And I'm hopeful that we'll have something that helps a lot more people than are currently being helped. I'm sorry, what?
Something has to change.
Well, I think that Lancaster is the place to change it. You know, I mean, everything we've taken on, we've been successful at, despite what Mr. Aber might tell us. But everything we've been phenomenally successful at. So why not this? Why stop now? Right? Okay. Thank you. Any other comments from the council? Any other comments from the staff?
Mayor Paris, if I may, this last Friday, I had the opportunity to go out with Daryl to the Prime Desert Woodlands, and they had, I'm going to think that's the first outdoor event we've had. Is that correct, or am I incorrect?
You're correct, yes.
Yeah, and it was well received. I couldn't believe the number of people that showed up. I know they raised a bit of money because it was a fundraiser, or one of the fundraisers of the year, and very impressive. And I I know George was there along with Jason. I don't know if were you the Jason's date? I was trying to figure that out. George?
I was. That's why we were wearing matching shoes.
Okay. and Sonia.
Does he know how to dance?
I don't know. Maybe he could be Jason's dance partner. I don't know. But anyway, I do want to.
I tried to get him to dance, but he refused.
And Sonia was there, and again, it was a great event, and you know, it was great to hear about the presentation tonight from Trolese to talk about potentially 5.3 million. I think I got that number right, because I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done about getting back on track, and so I'm looking forward to at least supporting that allocation from a standpoint of budget. So
I'm curious, Marvin, did they invite you? They didn't invite me.
I didn't get invited. I was bowling.
You were bowling? I wasn't bowling.
No, he was painting his window seal. I saw him.
in fact, Mayor, I told him that historically, usually you're in attendance.
Daryl kept that information away from me, so I
yes,
show
I did.
Oh, that's the difference, because usually it's you and I, and it was Daryl that night.
You know, I got feelings, Daryl.
Okay. But anyway, what a great event.
Great event.
Yes.
I wish I had been there. Don't you?
I wish I was invited.
What about you, Raj?
I didn't get invited.
You didn't get invited either?
I don't know about that.
Well, here I was feeling bad that you weren't there to ride the tractor with me. No. I'm beginning to see the light. All right. Thanks, folks. Been a long day, hasn't it? The next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021 at 5 p.m. That'll be after the Tracy Atkins event, right?
No, I think that's the 27th, isn't it? Is the Trace Atkins on the 27th?
That's the 27th.
The Trace
Okay.
Atkins will be the Sunday after.
Oh, it's Trace Atkins.
Yes, Trace.
Whatever his name is. Everybody's got to go get vaccinated before then, so you can sit in the good seats. This is going to be a great event, and all you have to do is get vaccinated, and you can sit down with the cool people, right? The cool kids. You don't want to be one of those kids not allowed to sit with the cool kids. All you got to do is go get vaccinated. Okay, thank you. Love you all. It's been an interesting